It's gone.
Right, welcome everyone to this strategy and policy meeting. Do we have any apologies for absence?
I've had apologies this evening from Councillor Panesar and Councillor Widdowson.
Okay, thank you. Just a reminder, if anyone's got any interest to declare, please declare them now, or you can declare them when they come up. Okay. Minutes of the Strategy and Policy Committee meeting held on the 25th of September. Any matters of accuracy on page 1798, 1799, 1800.
Just one, Chairman, possibly the date should be the 27th. It's neither here nor there. It's the next meeting.
Is it on the minutes we're
Yeah.
talking about on the agenda?
On the minutes, it's not say the 28th of November.
Does it?
The 27th. Yeah.
Doing well with that then.
Okay. Well, with
Yeah,
Okay,
we can change
thank you for that, Michael. Anything else on 1800? No. 1801. Right. In which case, I'll sign. Are we okay with those minutes? I'm going to propose those minutes with that correction to the 27th of November on the date of the next
Second.
meeting. All those- Okay, it's carried. Okay, right. Health and safety.
I have nothing to report on that this time.
Okay, thank you. Neighbourhood plan. A, to receive an update from the working group. Dale.
Thank you, Chairman. You'll be pleased to know it's a short one because I'd like to thank the councillors that did come to the workshop that we put on, which was designed to allow councillors to understand more about the actual policies that are in the document that's on the website. The document comes with a lot of appendices, and the appendices 10 or appendix 10 is actually a summary of the main document, if people are interested in that. And the main thing now that we're doing is we will just be reminding people via Facebook. We've had a couple of responses already, so we know things have gone out and people are there. And so we will now keep an eye out. You'll see in a moment, in order to analyze the responses we get. The email address neighbourhood plan at sandhurst.gov. We're asking if the chairman can have access to it, because at the moment he can't. So that's what item B is. But we now wait and respond. We've got another member workshop on the 16th for anybody that either didn't make it last time or has looked in detail and is going along to offer advice. Chairman, at the last meeting, mentioned about the stations and about, so we've rewritten parts of the information document, and that's been changed on the website.
I was already done.
It's already, oh yeah, we changed it quite quickly afterwards. So that's up to date with the info that you were able to provide. And so we now wait until the 9th of January, when hopefully by then we will have had back the statutory consultees in particular, and however many of the public wish to make those comments as well. And that is where we are now with what's called Regulation 14. And you'll be excited to know that the next element is called Regulation 15. Very logical. That's, and if I may, Chairman, can I move straight on to B?
Yes.
Item B, and that's to request authority to allow the chairman of the working group to have access to the email, so that as the responses come in, because he's got the big reply spreadsheet, that he can access the website and together we can keep all the responses we get on the spreadsheet. And we have to do that because we have to submit that with a document telling everybody who we've consulted and what's been said. So the evidence is in there. That's why I said at the meeting last time, the input we get goes into the public domain. So I'm asking Chairman if we could let Ian Booker have access to the website so that he can be doing his excellent job.
Comments, anyone? I personally don't have an issue with it. I think if we were to hire a consultant, for example, they would have access to an email account. So, I mean, I presume it would be a lot of effort to you to keep supplying him with the emails. So,
Oh, I've said no already.
have you know,
Yeah.
what that you wouldn't?
But we're not going to go in and send them all across. So Dale has access. So yeah, Dale would be collating it himself if Ian wasn't given permission.
And that would just be
It's just something.
my own. And of course, we do need more than one, because if I'm busy, and hopefully there will be quite a few responses, and the analysis will need to be done. So, and part of that is, and I'm glad you mentioned that, the thing is that we're trying not to put a burden on the office with additional admin.
Okay, Graham.
I just wanted to say that, yeah, it was really good. Actually, I went to that meeting and I saw most of the people around this table were there, which was also lovely. And I was blown away by the amount of work that has really been put into this. So I think he should definitely be given access to continue it.
Does anyone have any objections to? Okay, in that case, can I propose that Ian Booker could be given access to that email account? Do I have a second?
Yep. Second.
Okay, Nikki, thank you. All those in favour? Unanimous.
Thanks, everybody.
Right, next item 6 is the internal audit, which was Annex 1. Any comments, Ange?
Yes, I'll just have a couple. Those of you that have read it and remembered it, it's quite lengthy. The main bits that we need to be concerned with are that, firstly, it was a clear audit, which again, is good news, with three potential recommendations from our internal auditor. So the first, you may recall we had last year, which was the fidelity insurance, which is the cover should someone defraud the council, employee or member, is at the £1 million mark. And when at the time of audit, we held 1.4 million in the bank. So it was suggested again, as it was last year, that we look to increase that. Now, last year we decided that we wouldn't go ahead with that. I've done a little bit of looking into things. Last year we were informed that the cover was per employee or member. So we felt as a committee that it would take a lot for fraud to actually occur with the measures that we have, and we're talking sort of extracting money from the bank account. So it wasn't increased. We do have to be mindful that there is a section on the AGAR for the external auditors that the internal auditor has to sign, to say that he is satisfied that we have adequate insurance. So at the moment, it's just advisory, but it is the second time he's advised it. So I've gone to the insurance company, and to increase that up to 1.5 million, which should cover us amply, then we're looking at an extra £606 to the premium. The insurance guidelines at the moment this year are that you have your reserves amount plus 50% of your precept should be around about what your fidelity is. So if we went by that rule, we're within it because it's £935. But that is the insurer's view, not the auditor's view. 935. Yeah.
£935.
Thousands.
Yes.
Yeah.
I heard 1,000, but
Okay.
It's 1,000, yeah. And the limit is per incident, not per employee, and it's one incident in 12 months.
Mm.
So we inserted £1 million, we covered it for
Is
the,
it the same?
At the moment, we're covered for £1 million,
covers the,
which covers everything, which covers the recommended, but it doesn't cover the balance that we actually hold.
So does that mean if someone gets defrauded in 1 month for 30k, and then someone else or the same person gets defrauded again in 10 months for 30k, does that mean that that second 30k wouldn't be covered because it's one incident?
no, it'd be a different incident. It's 10 months later.
Sorry, because it's 2 incidents and
2 incidents, you'll be covered, yeah.
2 incidents. So it's unlimited incidents up to a value of 1 million. Because what you
The
just-
limit, yeah, the limit is per incident. Yeah.
So it's per incident. So it, in theory, that should be relatively.
Unless the first person takes the lot.
Unless they take the whole.
But I think you also have to think here that are we willing to fail our internal or external audit?
Mm.
do you think it's a point of failure? Because it's.
The internal auditor can choose his way on that. So if he feels we're not adequately insured, he will put a cross in that box, which will automatically mean we do not pass our external. So as a council, if you're happy to take that risk, that's just what we need to consider.
So what's the 600 compared to what we pay for the insurance per year? What's the
I haven't got that on me. It's just an extra 600. I haven't got, we paid last year. It's about 17 grand-ish roughly.
Does that take us to the end of the current financial year?
No, this will be for our policy. So we've just renewed it at the beginning of October. So this will take us for the actual policy.
Extra 600 quid seems a lot for.
Is it the
400k
same?
covered, isn't it? But that's it. We got
500k.
oh, 500k.
Is it the same auditor that's picked up the recommendations this year as he did last year?
Yes,
Yeah, 'cause we
we
changed.
changed order to last year, which is why this is all of a sudden started coming up.
Yeah.
But also it's because obviously the precept starts going up, the the income, the hires.
That we'll ever have more than 1.5 million.
Well,
Depends what you decide to do in the budget.
If you spend it all, no.
No,
Yeah.
well, we might
well,
in the future, mightn't we?
To put it into
Inflation.
perspective, we would if we remained completely as we are, and we the income was the same and the expenditure was the same, you would have to put the precept up by about, well, the precept income that we get would have to almost double, wouldn't it,
Yeah.
to get to that? So it's unlikely that we'll go above it in the near future, that's for sure. Yeah.
So is it just a hiccup at the moment that we're particularly high in?
No,
Okay.
No, we're carrying things like we've still got some still money and stuff like that, and there's all the reserves for
Different
car
projects,
park and
yeah,
stuff like that,
yeah.
So they all add up.
They all.
So earmarked reserves, as I said, are £635,000 off that.
Yeah.
So if we were to spend all of that, obviously it takes us back below.
Do we ever get to? I mean, because of our expenditure, do we actually ever get to over 1 million?
Yeah, we're sitting there now.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Well, for the sake of £600 for failing potentially.
And it's £600 out of what you saying about 17 grand for the overall policy. So it's probably not a massive
It's not.
change, isn't it? So it's,
I'm happy to propose that we accept it.
4%. All right. Yeah,
I'm happy to propose that we accept.
I'm happy to second that we increase it to 1.5 million.
I'm happy to propose that we go with that.
Anyone wish to debate that? Okay.
I'll second if you want.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I already seconded.
Oh, you second.
Fine.
No, I didn't hear, sorry.
Okay. All those in favour? Unanimous. Okay. So we go to 1.5.
I like unanimous decisions.
Okay, the next part of it is that, and these again are just recommendations that are not, haven't been flagged as being an external auditor problem at the moment. Just an advisory that based on the balances we hold, it's recommended that we have an investment strategy as a council, which we don't have currently. And then also they're linked together. That while the money is not covered by the Financial Standards Compensation Scheme guarantee, the council currently hold all our funds with the NatWest, and we might want to consider opening a bank account with an alternative provider.
Because I was wondering to myself, could you earn interest on that money?
We do have interest-bearing accounts, yeah, we do. And obviously, some of you will remember that we had in the SLLA to do a presentation about investing. And the council decided they didn't want to do that. So it's just really advisory, and if there's anything that we want to do going forward, it's just something to think about.
Fail the external audit that one.
It's not at the moment. No, he's not. These are just his advisories. Yeah.
I think that one we'd said not to before.
Excuse me.
Right.
It does seem. I mean, it does seem sensible to have an idea of an investment plan, whether or not we go with it. It's seeing as we have got quite a lot of money there.
I'd rather look at a plan to spend it for benefit of our residents personally.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think the fact that we have the money in an account, which is earning interest, it's not a current account as such. I think we are being wise in that respect. I have doubts about how we would construct an investment plan. And one of the things that would trouble me, because I pay a fortune to a financial advisor myself at the moment, is would we need, if we take it out of the account and put it in some sort of investment account, would we need to then have someone taking a handful for their advice and guidance when that money could, as you've just said, go on our own projects and go towards the residents? So I'm minded that with the money in a sensible account that is earning us interest, I don't think we need to look at a separate investment plan. And I was, when I was on the borough, I was part of the team that put together the investment plan for there, and we put several million in, and it earned a great deal of money. It's not earning quite as much now, so I'm minded to not take the risk of investing the money in accounts that, for instance, may take time to, because you get a higher interest if you want to leave it 6 months or give it 6 months notice or a year. I think we've got our money properly secured and we're earning on it.
So I think to continue with that, I think one of the challenges we had with the presentation that we had, the independent presentation, was that the investment levels were quite high. You needed an awful lot of money.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the sort of money we had. Otherwise, it just becomes, it actually wasn't worth the benefits weren't there.
But it was also tie the money in for a long time. My suggestion, and I don't want to, I hear what you're saying, we want to spend money for the residents, but what I was sort of saying was it doesn't hurt to look at if we can have it stored in somewhere that does pay a high interest, but you can have access to the money so that when you decide to spend it, you can spend it. It seems prudent to be trying to, if it's not being spent, to be getting the maximum returns on it. But I'm not a money expert, so shoot me, but it's just I wasn't suggesting that we should not spend it on the residents in any way, shape or form. I was just saying it would be prudent to look and see and make sure that we are getting the most interest that we can. And you're right, as soon as Trump does anything, the investments go like this. But there are still going to be good times, and there's going to be times when, that pot can be growing. And it can be potentially great. I don't know what our interest rates are, but it can be growing better. So I didn't see a harm in having a plan. I wouldn't be the one to do it. I'm terrible with money. Ask my wife, gosh.
I think
So I think the only thing we need to be cautious of, some of the borough councils will all remember the investments we made in the Icelandic bank. Fortunately, I think we recovered all of it, but it took a great deal of time. And I think there were other councils who lost a great deal of money because they were unsuccessful. So it would have to be a UK based bank as opposed to someone abroad.
I also think, actually, before I bring you in, Lee, I seem to remember that actually the PSA rates have dropped significantly over the last couple of years. So, in fact, since that presentation we've had, the public sector interest rates have dropped quite a bit. So they're not as good as they used to be. Lee.
Thank you. I think, given that we've got budgeting coming up, given that we've got, asked for applications for spend to come in, hopefully, with applications that will come in, whether it's pass, whether it's kit, whatever it is, but hopefully that what's in the bank will decrease. And so the need for an investment strategy will diminish and potentially even go away. So I suggest we park that one for the next few months until we see what's spent and then what's left.
Okay. Right. In which case, I propose that we leave the. In fact, we could look at whether it's worth splitting it across another bank. That might.
No, it might be a hassle.
Oh, it will be hassle, but if it needs doing, it needs doing. Obviously, Michael's touched on the disaster that happened. Obviously, I was in the banking world at that time. We won't be covered anyway, whether we've got it all in the NatWest or all spread around.
No,
under that financial scheme.
75.
It's actually gone up, I think, because it's based on a euro, isn't it?
So, whether or not, and the likelihood of a UK bank collapsing is very, very minimal. However, if we needed to, we could transfer it. We will be limited because how we operate is we have obviously the current account. We have a lump of savings or of funds in a savings account that feeds that account. So we keep a £2,000 balance on it, and every night it either tops up or puts it across to savings so that we maximise it. So they would have to obviously stay in the same place. I'd be loath to move those with all the authorised signatories needing to be set up for actually online banking and authorising payments. We could look, if you chose to, at moving the other accounts somewhere else if you felt that.
It was a case of whether you'd want to, for example, move the reserve, put the reserves somewhere, the earmarked reserves somewhere.
Our accounts aren't run like that, though, that we haven't got all the earmarked reserves in one bank account.
Right.
You've got to then look and see what the work and effort for doing all of that and what percentage.
Sounds like
What the reward is
Yes.
doing. Yeah, definitely.
This is what I said about the additional admin work of keeping it up to date. And
course,
we
when
need
we
a police
recruit-
to do it.
Well, when we recruit and we have our finance officer, this may be something that they can explore.
Yeah.
Well, I think for the time being, we'll note the auditor's comments, but we'll leave the bank accounts and investment strategy as they are currently. I propose that. Do I have a seconder? Lee, thank you. All those in favour? That's unanimous. Right. Back to agenda item 7. Risk assessments. Annex 2. Work out what page the annex was on there. That's it. Right, Ange, do you want to speak to this at all?
Right, this is just the risk assessment of the financial systems that we do annually. In the external audit this year, there was some noise around having a separate general risk assessment as well, which is the next agenda item. We cover everything on the so if I sort of lump them together when I'm talking, we cover everything on the general risk one in separate items. So for instance, we alleviate risk by having our financial regulation, by having our health and safety checks annually, by doing everything, the correct way, monitoring, etc. So whilst it's not in one document, we deal with it and we minute it. Another example of that is the insurance, to make sure that the council is adequately insured. So all those things we do, but we haven't got a document that we approve as a council to say that we do it. So this one is purely the finances and the controls that we have as a council, and the second one are more general risks.
Can I ask a question, even though I'm not part of the committee?
Go on then.
Have you considered cyber attacks from financial risk?
This committee considered that and decided that we wouldn't go ahead with cyber insurance in a
Not
recent
insurance,
meeting.
it's actually seeing how vulnerable you are to attack. Shows you how
Yeah, we
I
did.
sell it, for example. I'm not
Yeah,
trying to sell you, but this is what I sell. You can look at it, gives you ransomware susceptibility.
Yeah, we did have that,
data
Ray. We've
breach,
had
all
that
those
done.
things.
Yeah,
You know,
we had a percentage of how vulnerable we were, and we were actually pretty good.
it's just worth doing because
We've just had it done, Ray.
more and more frequent on it.
Just had it done.
We've just had it done.
How good though.
Not as good as you want.
Well, you're declaring interest here, I presume.
Yeah.
Right, so is a decision I
So you accept this as a council, well, recommend acceptance from town because it's the risk assessments go through town.
yeah, okay.
This is the one that you have every year, the
Yeah.
financial one, and the other one is the new. The
I'm
new
happy to
version.
propose it.
Okay, you're a seconder?
Yep.
Okay. All those in favour of accepting this and passing it through to council, because council has to agree as well, don't they? So, okay, that's unanimous. And the next part was turn around it. For the general risk assessment for recommendation town council.
Oh, yeah.
That's general risk assessment. So much of it. What point did it change? That's the financial assessment.
Straight after.
Oh, it's the coloured one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got that. And
No, right.
it's interesting how it's got a red column and then a green column. And I'm not sure whether the fact that it says 10 on one side and then risk in 3 in the, I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad
There's
thing.
a mitigating factor
Yeah.
that changes the initial assessment.
That's how it works, is it?
Yeah. In fact, I'm surprised it's not a 5x5 grid. I thought they were normally 5x5 rather than 4x5. But okay.
So why is 2.3 amber at 6
That's what I was looking at, yeah.
rather than green as the others? Leases for Sandhurst owned buildings, lease agreements are not compliant.
2.6.
2.3.
2.3.
2.3, sorry.
Leases are agreed following the legislation set. They're prepared by the council solicitor and presented to the S&P committee for review and acceptance. And it says the risk is 6. Why is that 6, whereas all the others are 3 in green?
I'm thinking about that. Probably the history that we've had on leases. It shouldn't be a 6, no.
I'm surprised it would be if it was 6 because
Well, no, because they're prepared by our solicitor. So,
absolutely,
yeah.
yeah. We go through a very formal process, and in fact, I think we've nearly processed about 8 leases in the last couple of years.
I know quite a number we've done, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have said that was a green.
Yeah,
personally.
yeah, that should be.
This risk assessment, this is what we've compiled for somebody else.
I have.
So hang on, it's likelihood and impact, isn't it? So likelihood.
Oh, so this is what you've compiled, Ange.
What's the likelihood?
I suppose in that my thinking was slightly that if it's if this isn't done properly, the risk is quite high
Yeah.
if it's not done properly.
So far, it's all been done.
So you say
But it is-
likelihood is 3 because it's frequent.
And I think that 3 to me is green. It's
3 is green, 3 is a low risk.
No, I don't mean that. I mean, in the likelihood column, you've got 3,
Yeah.
and then in the impact, you've got 2. And I'm looking at the table at the top, the colour table at the top, which would mean that the likelihood is frequent. But I think that the likelihood is not the of how often they're done, but the likelihood of it getting it wrong. I don't think it's a 3 at all. Which is why the answer wouldn't be 6. I think it would probably be
Well, 3.
one likelihood
Yes.
to impact,
According to that, mate.
which would make it a 2. You agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've made likelihood 1 and impact 2. That makes it a 2 in total. Any other changes anyone spotted?
The
It will.
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, we do this each year.
I'm used to seeing them in projects where they've got sort of dates against
No, it'll be an annual. As I said, this is the first time it's happened because we'll take that, for instance, and as I mentioned earlier, the health and safety is something that we always do review, but we do it separately to having it in a format like this. Now, I'm not suggesting that I wouldn't then still bring it to the committee as it happens individually, because that's more beneficial way to do things. I wouldn't wait until we review this and say, oh, by the way, 6 months ago we had a health and safety review and it wasn't very good. So we would still continue in the way that we do, but this is just a way of formalising to make sure that we do all of those actions.
It'd be interesting year on year to see trend as well if things are shifting. But yeah, overthinking spreadsheet again.
Just you love a spreadsheet.
I
as
do,
well.
unfortunately.
I propose that we accept the risk register with the changes to 2.3 and the numerical change on 2.4. In
So
the,
you can do 6.4.
6.4.
no, I'm talking about 2.4,
About the,
Oh,
the addition. rather.
where 2 times 1 was 3. I don't think we made any changes to 6.4.
no, just
Just
the
the numbering.
Just
Yeah.
change the 0.5 to 0.4. 6.4 was so.
Oh, sorry.
secret, it was deleted.
Okay,
That was it. It's gone.
and changing 6.5 to 6.4. Okay.
Second.
Okay, all those in favour? Unanimous. Okay,
God, we're good tonight on unanimous votes, aren't we?
right.
What we on?
Thanks, you mixed it.
Bank reconciliation in preparation for the budget.
So no, this one isn't budget related. This is again something that we have to do that was recommended
yeah,
to
this
us
was-
by audit last year.
Yes, yeah.
And several of you, I know particularly Hazel and Dale have been involved in doing this. So a member of the Strategy and Policy Committee has to agree the reconciliation that comes out of our accounting system is true to what is held in the bank once a quarter. It cannot be the chair or the vice chair of the committee. Hazel's done it prior to being vice chair. So it's just to confirm that that has been happening and that we are complying with the financial regulations for the bank reconciliations. It's just to be noted.
So that's done quarterly, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's an info item, I think. Okay, so we'll move on to budget planning. Oh, thank you.
If you prefer.
Yes. I've got to scrolling up and down.
Yeah.
When we go past all the appendices, it will make it easier.
Makes it look easier, yeah.
Right, okay, so budget planning, to receive any suggestions from the Strategy and Policy Committee members that they would like to be considered in the budget plans for the next financial year.
I think you said something leisure, didn't you?
Well, leisure's got lots of things, but
Mm.
we're not at leisure.
Yeah.
So, this is more a case of, do we want to double the number of staff or something like that? Do we have any particular projects we need to do? I can't think of any off the hand. And is there anything the office needs to do?
There's nothing in particular, and obviously we have got the reserve of, I think it's about 10,000 for an office refurb that's never materialised. So one year we might actually start doing that.
Is something maybe about the outside toilets?
Well, I wonder whether the inside
The
toilets
inside toilets
need to
actually.
be
they're
refurbed. They look
common.
very dated and
There are lots of things like that. The kitchen needs a bit of attention and and things like that. I mean, the toilet tiles and things, but we have to sort of, but you say it looks dated, but it's fit for purpose, and as long as it's tidy and clean, it's how far you go with these things. Is that where we want to be spending the money, or do we want to be spending, if it's clean, tidy and fit for purpose? I don't know. But yeah, there are some things, like I say, some of the kitchen units have been glued back together by the grounds team and the caretaker once too often. So there's odd things. But because how the kitchen is, I think it's what it would cost, etc. Whether we wanted to do it as a budget item. But it's
do it this year, or maybe
It's
think about it over the next 12 months as to whether it's time to do some refurbishment.
we can't do it as a SIL project, one of those.
No,
No, because it's not, well,
Well, doesn't matter, it's still
I mean,
used on anything.
As long as it benefits residents.
it's for the benefit of the residents, yeah.
Maintenance, bigger projects.
not really, because most of the things
But-
and things like that really are, unless it's an extravagant kitchen with an island in the middle, they really are business as usual.
Yeah.
There's not.
There is a
sort of
maintenance
something
budget to
that-
cover
yeah,
this stuff anyway, so.
yeah.
I'd like to see the toilets refurbed.
Yeah.
I think very reminiscent of
Gents or the female?
school toilets.
These
rather than
toilets.
the
Yeah.
adult toilets.
Yeah.
Mind you, they're public toilets, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
People do just wander in and use them, so.
and they're quite dated when they're the same from when. we
Yeah,
set
that's what I
up
would do.
computers and stuff. Those years ago, so.
Do you want to propose it and I'll second it?
Aren't you
I
having, I mean, just.
Well, okay.
To
so-
investigate the refurb costs.
I think
Yeah.
basically, you basically you'd have to come up with a price by next January. By this time in January.
Can I, having just been through over the last 6 months, a new
Still
kitchen,
traumatised.
and yeah, I am still traumatized by that. But the bit that we need to, if we're going to think about that, it's not a question of how much. It's first of all, what design do we need that is appropriate for the users? and the design of the kitchen needs to be considered.
It was a toilet.
We was talking about toilet,
We're not doing the kitchen,
No.
we're doing a toilet.
Toilet.
Yeah, it's the same thing. When we did the bathroom, the thinking about the design, and I know it sounds silly, we just need a couple of that or a couple of cubicles, but actually not, because you've actually got to think your way through the design and what you need, etc., etc.
Making a sweeping generalisation, most public facilities are clearly designed by men, because a woman would go in and go, a woman would never design it like that.
Well, to be honest, you're right, and that's the point. If we're going to think about putting a lump in the budget for it, then it's got to be thought about in those design terms for appropriate gender, etc. Because once you've decided it's going to be that, the actual cost is astronomical. I'm speaking from experience.
I think there's no harm in looking at it.
The cost,
But then we know.
costing tiles,
Yeah.
costing tiles are amazing.
That's why I avoided
I
tiles.
think if we are looking then in that guise at updating, because it is fit for purpose, but it's old fashioned, then I'm absolutely going to throw the office refurb into the mix.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm getting your office
That's appeared on the budget. Why hasn't it been?
So it was on there long before I arrived here, and it's just something that has never materialised because there's always been something else to do, to be perfectly honest.
This
So yeah, it's just never been done.
So what is it, what's needed in order to get it done? Is it a working group? Is it just going, okay?
No, it's just, yeah, it's getting an architect in really to look at some design ideas and costing it up.
I mean, we've improved the lighting in the main hall. We've improved the lighting here.
Yeah.
We've put the solar panels on. So we have made improvements through the building. So I think we should continue in that vein.
I
Yeah.
think the
You know,
office
do one
refurb,
project and then do another one.
I think the office refurb should be given a priority, because we're going to have and
more stuff. So
Yeah,
get
that
more
was on
staff.
the
And-
list already.
And I think it's, again, we need to look at the ergonomics of the design of the office so that people enjoy sitting in their workspace rather than being. So I'm happy to suggest that the office is looked at as a priority.
Why don't we do that in the toilets at the same time?
In the workplace, one would have a backlog of proposed projects, so office, outside toilets, indoor toilets, solar panels, whatever.
Yeah.
Would it be worth running a backlog with, as Dale suggests?
Well, we've always got that, but that's what the earmarked reserves are for.
Yeah.
Projects that have been discussed and
A list of things that keep getting prioritised by this committee, so that things don't slip off that radar.
That's
all-
why they're in
yeah,
earmarked
yeah,
reserves,
it's all in
because
an earmarked
basically
reserve.
there's a code against various projects. The toilets weren't included, but the office was. It's just never been spent. So, I mean, Andrew,
Right.
you've been here 10 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why?
So the money that it's slipped off, it's there, but there's just been other things.
More than
Well, it should be.
I'm just saying, is there a visible backlog of items to be prioritised
No.
for that earmark? That's my point.
We gave the caretakers flat a really good going over, didn't we? I think we need-
Yes, I'm saying.
I think we need the offices sorted.
Right.
Can I propose that we get, because we don't have to necessarily accept these things, but can I propose that we get costings to refurb the office and to refurb the bathrooms?
Okay.
Seconded.
Marvellous.
All those in favour?
Yes.
Again.
Sorry, all right, we can keep talking around all night, guys. I just think let's find out, because we might be talking about something that's going to cost 100 grand, and we're going
Before you add anything else, I'll move on to the next item.
yes, definitely.
See, an update on the current SIL funds, Annex 5. Right, okay. We're currently holding 154k of SIL funds.
Can I ask a question about Sill?
Mm.
So when a new development is built and a Sill demand is delivered, and then a Sill demand isn't paid, and then a surcharge is put on, how long does that process go on for? How long is somebody allowed to ignore a demand?
I don't know the answer to that because it's all done at the borough and they
Yeah.
just send us the money that we get. So
But some of them have been known to go on for a couple of years of argument and challenge.
So, and I assume the building isn't signed off until the Sill payment is made.
No, they can crack on with the building.
You know, yeah, they can crack on with the building, but it won't be signed off by
Oh, right, yeah, no, they've got to pay before it's
signed off. Yeah, so I thought, thank you.
So what this is essentially saying is that once we spent all the Sill money that we're spending on the play equipment, we'll have about 23k to be spent by the end of the financial year 25/20. That's this financial year.
So we've got 23 grand we've got to
Yeah.
spend.
yeah,
If-
or ring fence,
Or lose.
or ring fence.
fencing. We can
Well,
identify.
I
I was going to say that can go to the toilets and the office.
Or, of course, there is Michael's project as well that you're looking at spending about 6,000 on those posts.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
The hanging baskets,
800.
7,000 then on that.
that would be nice.
Could add some of the outside lighting, I think Liz said on her.
That will be for them to do.
Right.
That's yeah, it's a different. Yeah.
Okay. Right, so just be aware that we've got 23k to spend before the end of the or ring fence before the end of the year.
Bathroom shopping and office shopping it is.
Can we use it for that? The table tennis table thing we were putting in now.
That's already gone through that.
It's already gone
Yeah,
through that.
yeah.
is it? Sorry.
Yeah.
Ring fencing, is there a time limit, or can we carry it forward in theory to the following year or not? Is there a?
Yeah, as long well, yes. So to give you a bit of history on this, the reason this has come through is that out of the blue, a few months ago, about 2-3 months ago, Bracknell Forest sent through a demand for some back from last year's, to which I was absolutely agog, let's say, because it was ring fenced for the projects. And had the outdoor gym been completed within the timescales we thought, that was the 50 anyway, so it was more than spent. But again, those of you that have been here a while, there was a big project by the borough on Sill and the sort of how it was to be dealt with the parishes. And as I've said on here, they actually have got their own policy that says that, and it states it all here, how they run, and that the executive updated the policy. And if something was ring fenced, that was okay. But obviously at this point, they missed our ring fencing when I emailed them at the end of the year and asked for do they want to know what's ring fenced, and I got back a no. I carried on my own merry way. Several months later, can we have 42,000 back? No. Thankfully, as I said, I've had all of this and sent all of this back to them, to which they couldn't really do anything because it's their policy that they've agreed. So they have said that this time round they're going to formalise the process with towns and parishes, because we're not alone by a long shot. If you imagine places like Bimfield and Warfield that have had big builds, we're talking they've had millions of pounds of Sill through. So I think this is an oversight by the borough, and they've rectified it. So if we've still got some, if we haven't spent every penny, and again, it's unlikely it's going to be very tight, we may not be billed for the new play equipment either out of this, but obviously that will be ring fenced to say it is coming imminently.
If we've got 23 grand that needs to be ring fenced, spent, whatever, before the end of the year, are there any charities, associations in Sandhurst that we could? Are we not allowed to do that?
No, you can't
No.
give it to charity.
No.
That's real.
No, spend it on improving facilities, or does it have to be spent on?
It's supposed to be spent.
Say, for instance,
spent
someone was
on
doing solar panels,
benefit of our residents.
benefit of the residents.
Yeah, not charities.
Okay.
That's the direct benefit.
Sorry,
Direct benefit, yes.
just a question.
It's a direct benefit, but you know,
Yeah.
what do I know?
That was just a question.
Too.
Okay, anything else on Sill? That was,
So we need a decision on that. As to what you're ring fencing it for.
well,
What the 23?
I think, we already know that we're looking at potentially, looking at the toilets and stuff, so,
Yeah,
potentially, but we don't know what the number is yet, so.
no, well, we know it'll be more than that,
So
because we're talking about a office refurb and a toilet refurb.
Can we ring fence it?
But also if you are thinking about the 7,000 for the poles as well, that's, you know, I'm not saying you have to, sorry, I'm not saying that you have to use it for that, of course, but it's an option rather than that,
Yeah.
over a
A
year.
year now, so.
Yeah, it's over a year.
can I suggest that absolutely ring fenced against the
So that can be spent
Be spent, not.
by the end of this financial year.
let's spend it.
And then any remainder we
I'll propose that.
against.
Happy to second that.
Good. And Michael was keeping very quiet.
No, I know, I'm more than happy with that because that will.
Yes.
obviously-
He can't wait to get
That will
project
actually
done.
achieve what
Yes.
we've been seeking to
Yeah,
do.
yeah, for a long time. Yeah,
And I'm quite happy also to rather than ring fence it now, I think we could wait till January and ring fence the rest if necessary, you know, against the toilets and office refurb.
Yeah.
But I want to know what the number is first before we do that.
well, to be perfectly
can't- I
honest, I
can't-
can't see of me having not figures for a refurb for the office and a refurb for that by the end of January with the Christmas break in the middle. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
What is office chief?
Come and stay.
Everyone's on holiday.
Okay, yeah, it just, well,
Yeah.
Voting.
on what was it, what was that, what we
The
actually.
7K spend.
Spend
Yeah,
it.
absolutely, flowers, yes, yes. okay.
It's unanimous.
Yay.
Michael gets his flowers.
Yeah.
I'll be up there tomorrow.
It's just poles, not flowers.
Oh, no, there's no flowers.
Come on.
Oh, sorry.
Not
11 poles.
11
flowers.
6 in central
Yes.
Sandhurst, 5 in College Town.
Let's be careful though. If you touch some of those poles, they belong to the borough, don't they? So
I
they
need
get
new
all funny
ones.
about it.
There'll be, yep,
Well, they won't because once we've replaced them, they won't be the boroughs
No,
anymore.
it'll be ours.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
So what's happening about the rest of the money? Are we ring fencing that?
I think we should wait until January, until we have a better idea. I don't, I'm concerned about putting money in the budget when we don't actually know what the budget is.
But by January, we're not going to be in any different position to what we are
It could
now.
be further forward.
£5 less than 23.
Yeah.
We'll be further forward than we are now, which is zero. So
Agreed.
But Andrew just said that.
Yeah, I mean, getting architects in by the end of January and having that back to me is nigh on impossible. It's not going to happen.
That's what I mean. But okay.
Not from our side, just our side either. That's just not going to happen.
I
It's not
don't want
gonna
to. I
be
don't want to commit the rest of it right now. So
We might come up with a better idea.
right, okay. Which
great.
is-
You have to commit it in January though, otherwise we stand to lose.
I understand. Well, it's still March. Still committed in March because that's before the end of the financial year as well. So
Yeah, good,
Just, yeah.
good shout.
Fine.
Yeah.
right. Solar panels on the data centre building. Who's leading on this?
I was just thinking that one of these is for 23,000, but you
Really?
could solve your problem in a
I hadn't noticed that, Diane.
Had you
And I did not make that comment.
Did you
No,
not
no,
notice
no.
this, Graham?
I
thought
didn't.
You were cleverer than that.
I know, that's not what I asked about.
And all the residents and all the members are residents.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, you can argue that in a minute. I was told to take names out of 3 quotes.
Yeah.
I've had 3 quotes. It's quite relevant to know what date the quote was created because they have a sort of 60-day or one of them's a 30-day time.
So they'll go up. They could go down because I am told, I became quite an expert in September and October. I am told that panels prices are on a downward trajectory, probably because China's producing so many. You've got the three prices there. They're all pretty much of a muchness. Quote one actually quoted for 76 panels. Don't know why. They're all the same size. And I've seen the plan that 66 fits on the big span of the roof. I think he was probably listening to me when I said I wanted an extra 10 on the side roof that heads towards the park as opposed to the back roof. So that could be reduced quite easily. There's so much of a muchness, it's almost impossible
Yeah.
to choose.
Yeah, because I was
Hazel
looking at them.
probably identify which one is which.
I know.
Rather you didn't.
I know one of them, but I'm not going to say any more than that. But I was just looking at one is 76 panels and one is 66 panels, and one we've got 55 panels.
Yeah.
It would be a better comparison if they were all comparing eggs with eggs rather than apples and pears.
There are,
Are they different size panels?
no,
No, because
they're
they're
covering the same
Okay.
space. They're all 435.
They are different, different wattage according to
No,
this.
no,
but-
one
Can I just
30.
throw out here that although we've got these, it's not for us to compare these.
Yeah.
It's just for information
yeah.
from the day centre because we're not doing the project. So we will have no input on deciding who is doing this.
This is just to tell you roughly how much it's going to cost.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is
so it's
between
great for information.
25 and 30,000 pounds.
So presumably you need our permission.
One
We
your
got that in
permission.
the last meeting.
Okay.
They asked for that in the last, yeah.
So we've got permission. We're allowed to do it. Now, please, Father Christmas, can I have the money?
We want the money.
On the end.
And we absolutely definitely can't put that seal money to it. Is that definitely a no?
It's for the benefit of residents.
But is there a budget or is something we'll have to factor in? Or will we use
Sorry, I
seal
don't
money?
understand that.
Don't know, we're just asking, we're asking for
No, we just give them the money or
But-
not.
9 grand.
Do it.
Well, can you apply for a grant like other organisations?
We've applied for grants. If you turn us down, yeah, we'll start applying for grants, but it'll also
We
go to
apply
the
for the
bottom.
grants through the grant process here.
No, through external grants
I mean,
that are available.
It'll
Both, yeah.
it'll go to the bottom,
No,
it'll go to the bottom of the priority list. Because we've also got air conditioning, which is vital in there because of the hot summers we're getting. Last year, I honestly thought when I went in that somebody's gonna drop down dead. It was that hot in there,
Mm.
you know, so we need air conditioning.
And the trouble
This
is.
this
air
we'd like to
conditioning-
do, we want to do, we will do, but unless we get the money from yourselves, we're not gonna spend that much time on getting grants for this. We need to get air conditioning,
Which
air
is
conditioning is
this price.
which is about that price.
air conditioning is going to put up the energy demand even more, which is why this is the
That's why we want it.
for
Yeah, solar panel
Yeah.
first.
And they really need to go side by side.
I don't think anybody would disagree with it. My question is, given that we've got 1.5 million in the bank, and we just talked about the need to spend it, what pot would this come from and how much is in that pot?
Well, it would have to come just out of the general reserve because we haven't got a pot reserved for it.
And how much is in the general reserve?
Oh, I'd have to
At
look.
the
I
end
don't
of the-
know off the top of my head at the moment.
At the end of the
How it's
year, based on the last budget, the general reserve was going to be
200,000.
3 times our monthly spend, which is what it's supposed to be at the end of the year. We're not supposed to go below that figure. So we aim it to that number.
So essentially what I'm asking is, my impression is that we are a cash-rich council.
Yeah.
Well,
I would
okay.
say a prudent.
When we look at the budget last year, right, It looks cash rich because we've got a lot of stuff in pots with the earmarked reserves. That's where the 600k comes from. The rest of it isn't that.
Hence me saying, what pot would this come out from and how much is in that pot?
So what Nick's saying is the projects that are earmarked that we've spoken about, that 600k, that is all earmarked for projects that obviously haven't been taken forward, so it's still there. If you wanted something else with a pot with a name on it, with a pot for whatever, that would come out of general reserve because that 600 is already allocated to different projects.
And the amount in general is reserve at the
At
moment.
the end of the year is predicted, if we spend everything to our budget lines, is predicted at around the 200,000 mark.
And it varies.
But we're not spending to the
So
budget.
this is, it's over
This is-
10%.
this is Around about 10%ish of
10%.
Yeah.
So-
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I'm interested in these quotes because I make money out of my roof.
So do I.
And I,
Don't make as
Diane's
much
the
as I do.
expert. Diane's the
But-
expert.
but there's no mention of income likely.
Because the bits with income on have got company names on it. These are the bits that I could extract without showing you names, and I was told not to show you names.
So, okay, but
I have that data.
so the point I'm after is
Which one makes the most money?
which one makes the most money, but in a short space of time, given the size of this, the payback
Mm.
is going to be there.
I was going to say,
So is there
Why we're having 60 odd panels rather than the 20,
exactly?
which would probably run the day centre
So is
most of the year.
so is this an application for a grant or a loan until you can start paying it back?
Pass, because I hadn't thought about paying it back.
Because-
yeah, so no, that's a very valid point
It
because
is.
basically if we were paying for those 66 panels to go up and then you get all the income from those panels,
He'll spend it.
No, we're going to spend some of it on air conditioning.
no, but the point is that
Yes.
we're paying for you to get income.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
doesn't seem quite.
And as yet,
No, that's not going to be a spending power because we're enabling them to obviously, as you say, get an income.
It's
We'd have to look into that because
I think
that's
I
more
think that
than
would
just-
that would go very much
Yeah.
against the sill.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it would.
right,
Couldn't come out of sill if we were doing that.
No, I'm not even
It's
sure
not
the
being
council
done.
would be able to do that either. I'd need to look into that.
it's not being
Good
done
shout.
to generate income, it's being done so that the place can run at
The incomes are
Well,
side.
self-sufficient.
But the income will cover the air conditioning potentially in itself.
air condition. I don't know whether any of you know how much juice air conditioning swallows, but it's heckin' a lot.
yes.
In the summer, when these panels are generating at their best,
That's
they're going to be switching things on inside because they're talking about having 6 air conditioning units up and down the walls, which will cost a bloody fortune.
Well, if you have a heat pump system,
Oh, please don't.
No, no, no,
We're not going there.
not going there.
what's the
I don't know.
have these companies provided you the return of the investment of each one?
Yes, but because the amount of juice they're going to be using in the building in the future,
You're not seeing exporting to the grid.
you can't see exporting yet because
Yeah.
they're going to be using too much.
Yeah.
So until it's running, you don't know.
No, but the company on the companies would go by a government spreadsheet and be able to calculate the return on the investment as they stand now, regardless of the air conditioning unit.
Yes,
So have you got those figures?
yes.
No.
Okay.
Look,
That's right. Go on.
there must be a precedent for this, surely. There must be another council we must be able to look and check.
If it was for our use, it'd be no problem at all.
No,
Precedent for, helping with solar panels somewhere.
No,
Well, no.
council cannot just buy things for other
Other
charities.
people.
They cannot do that.
And the other thing to think of as well, whilst it's our building, if we do that for them, what are we going to do as a council when
Cricket club.
Palm comes
For the football
wanting
club.
every other building wants solar panels?
Oh, it's not a charity.
It doesn't make any difference. It's what I'm talking about is our buildings.
And should the day centre disappear, the building will still be there with panels on it. That's point one.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying if we do it for one, we have to consider in the interest of fairness.
Unless we do what Diane's just gonna mention.
What's that?
If I remember correctly, currently the town council supports the day centre to the tune of 20,000 a year.
18.
About 17, 18, yeah.
Can we please, just for the sake of my brain and the fact that I've had a very difficult day, round up? At some point in the next 2 years, it should be possible to see whether the figures, the government figures, and what is actually going on in there does yield a profit. The way they spend money in there is, it's all being done properly. I'm not quite a man with no arms, as my dad would say, but it's a very expensive facility. And this might make it a less expensive facility, which might mean that in a couple of years' time, the council grant could be reduced.
So we get an ROI on our investment.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying about the return on the investment.
I think the only thing we would be able to do right now, I don't think we would be able to, buy this as it stands. I think the only thing we can potentially do right now would be to loan you the money on, say, a 5-year payback period.
20.
It's the return on the investment.
Return on investment's got to be better.
20 until we get the return on investment.
No,
No.
it'd be a lot lower than that.
It will be less than that, but it will be fine.
10.
9.
Well, we need to see the figures anyway. We can't just throw figures into thin air.
It is, that's the only thing I think we can offer you is the fact we could loan you the money on a long-term payback period, long-term being several years rather than saying, 12 months.
At a zero interest, I presume we're talking
We
about.
could do it on zero interest, yeah.
I think really that's obviously is an element of it that we have to agree to, which I'd support.
Interest-free loan for 5 years, I imagine we
You've
can.
got vested interest.
Only as a trustee.
Yeah, you should be declaring interest at this point.
Yeah.
Well, yes, all right, yes.
Declare your interest because you didn't.
You've got interest.
Right, it's not too late, then yes.
Why don't we propose that we look at a
Sandhurst.
financial solution in order to support the day centre being able to move forward with their solar panels, with provision of funds to be agreed over a number of years on site of how long it will take to generate an ROI, which would be between minimum of 5, maximum of 10 years to be agreed once that's
The trouble is, you can't. What I don't want is for them to say, "Well, we've got to wait until we install the solar panels and see what the ROI is."
No, you'll get the ROI with these figures.
yeah,
It's in the documents.
We're just not able to see it. Got it, but she had to remove it from the quote in order to remove the next. So they already have an idea of the ROI.
But I also think 5 years is a reasonable period.
I would agree that 5 years is a reasonable time.
Okay, so do
And when we were looking at ours with Hazel and ours, you were saying, weren't you, that it was big?
No, sorry,
Hang on.
I'm not talking about the ROI. I'm talking about the payback period for a loan, not it doesn't have to match the ROI. If it's slightly higher than the ROI, then you just be a bit more fundraising. What I'm saying is the payback period for the loans should be around 5 years.
Sorry, I've just had a look and I've seen that there are other councils that have given grants to build public buildings that have charities operating in with an income. So I'm not comfortable with this. Could we put a motion?
The grants
this
for what?
looked at For
Because
solar panels on the building. So could someone go away and come back to us, please, with all the facts about whether it's proper or not, because I'm getting confused. People are saying,
Conditions of the lease.
and also, yeah. So is that okay? Can we just, because at the moment we're all talking in circles about
Definitely
ROI
not
and everything.
SIL, but it says here.
Yeah, not SIL, but they
the
have
town
made
council
grants.
can Fund the
Yeah.
upgrades, because the council owns the building as a.
Yeah, because I've just checked on it as well.
Yeah, and it says here as well that because the building is being used as a charity that is benefiting the local community, it is also okay.
So, but I would like that properly dotted and T's crossed.
We would, of course,
Like,
Can't speak, Michael, I'm
So-
afraid.
right.
so is it, could I, vote me down? Am I allowed to propose a motion that it's the legality of this is actually looked at, please? Is that okay? Because I'm.
Well, hang on, because we've already got a motion on the
Oh,
table.
sorry.
Looking at yours as well.
Please.
Yeah, which is, I said that we agree in principle to fund the day centre for this, so that they can progress with their solar panels. And
I would like it over 5 years.
will be repaid over a minimum period of
This says
5
it
years.
doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to
paid
be
because it's our
repaid.
building. We own it. It's an investment in our.
Well, does that mean that you then file a substantive motion on top of my motion?
The reason, so this grant, I would like to, if you want to go back to your grants, did they buy grants for grants for other people? Did it include the fact that you've got 3 times as many panels as you need and you're generating income? That's why I wanted a loan.
Yeah.
Because they're generating income.
From my personal point of view.
Diane's point of view, that once the panels are up, and they will be feeding in, they'll be using air conditioning, so their energy consumption will go up, but hopefully overall it will help their energy consumption throughout the year, not just to fund the air conditioning. The knock-on effect may well be that instead of Sandhurst Council giving them an annual funding grant of 18,500 or whatever it is, rounded up to 20 for Diane, that in fact the knock-on benefit will be, hopefully, potentially, that grant application can reduce.
To be perfectly honest, though, no, because that is their sole income, or not sole, but it's a big chunk of grant income that they get, and their running costs for everything else, obviously salaries, etc. You need that grant. I personally don't see you'll ever be in a position to say we don't want it anymore.
But I would still really like to know the legality of this, whether it's a straight grant or a loan. I would like us to look into it and actually get advice on, as you said,
Well,
to look into it.
Let's,
Please.
can I make a small adjustment to these? And that is subject to discovering the legality. Your motion.
That's what Lee just said. Yeah.
So
Because-
with an amendment. then.
Yeah, with that amendment,
So, because Lee's suggestion just says to fund, it doesn't say.
You said to loan, didn't you?
No.
It doesn't say whether it's a loan,
No.
whether it's a.
Yes.
or
Yeah,
a grant or whatever.
Yeah.
Alone.
Yeah, that fund for loans.
no, she did.
No,
Do you want to do it again? Yes, I'll do it again.
Do you want to say fund through a loan? Would that make it clear?
No, just say fund.
Just say
Just
fund.
say
Just
fund.
fund.
Okay.
and that covers looking into all eventualities.
Just leave it at fund.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's according to this, there's no reason we shouldn't just fund for it.
And that is
It's okay for them.
subject to the legal.
But I just want to know exactly.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
just keeps it clean.
And
And then
And Hazel, had you already seconded that? No.
Oh, yeah, I'll second it.
All right, all those in favour.
then
Okay.
Thank you. And that will not be coming back for the air conditioning though.
Thank God for that.
okay.
That falls off.
was with my.
You still have,
Sure
so you still haven't, right,
that would definitely.
right, you still haven't got the final answer yet anyway, so this will be coming back, so.
Stage 1.
Yeah, this is stage 1.
No, stage 2, because they've asked for permission on the panel. That was stage 1.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well,
It's,
we haven't officially. Yeah.
no, it's thanks for taking it forward, because the data centre, which I've been involved with now 7 years, is very close to my heart. I'm very, very It's
I don't-
vital to the community, I believe.
I know Pauline did an awful lot of improvements
Oh,
in the Bay
everybody.
Centre, so
Go on with that.
so
Let's move on.
It's David Bowser in the hall. Is it okay?
You can carry on.
Tea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carry on. Right.
Thank you very
If
much.
it's fish and chips, I'll be jealous.
Press and media policy.
Yes.
To consider a motion raised by Councillor Grigg that an amendment is made to the current press and media policy whereby if the officers at Sandhurst Town Council are approached by any media for a comment on any issue that follows a discussion at a prior committee meeting, that all those who attend to the meeting are notified ASAP as a matter of courtesy.
So,
Is anyone?
yeah,
Hear from Lee.
yeah. So, this follows the last SNP meeting, that we all had, that's around flags and flagpoles and flying union flags and not flying union flags. And obviously our meetings are streamed, which means they're recorded, which means they're accessible for anybody to use. And within 24 hours of our meeting concluding, an excerpt was used on GB News and we featured, and I understand that the office was approached for a comment. Now, I didn't know that it was being discussed on GB News. I didn't know that we were as a council, but the office did. It only became apparent to me a number of days later. And then, of course, we had the email into the office, which was clearly as a result of somebody watching that piece on the news, because they weren't a resident. So it's merely to ask, as a matter of courtesy to all councillors who are at a meeting, if we become aware that the meeting has garnered some media interest, that merely as a matter of courtesy, those councillors who are at the meeting, could be environment, it could be leisure, it could be S&P, it could be town, whomever, whatever, is just to let them know that a media inquiry has been made, because, as you know, forewarned is forearmed. So it's merely to ask, as a matter of courtesy, that those councillors who are at the meeting receive an email and notified.
Okay. I mean, I will say that the chairman was notified,
And that's standard practice.
which is what the standard practice is currently. So
Oh, I was about to ask, what is the standard practice?
Yeah, standard practice.
That was my exact
It-
question.
it-
How is it
it-
recorded?
Oh,
does not respond
No.
until she's spoken to the chairman. So
don't look at me. I chaired the meeting, but were you? Were you?
Yes,
informed?
yes, because
Yes.
Nick then gives the response. Well,
Yeah.
I don't give the response.
Okay.
The chair of whichever relevant committee gives the response to the press.
Having said that, the GB News went and made a comment anyway based on
Before we were able to.
recording before we even responded.
You know, and I was the one that they chose to,
Yeah.
which I would have appreciated. I would have thought that the councillor concerned would have had the courtesy to let everyone know, but unfortunately they didn't. And I think that, given the respect policy and meeting that we had and collaboration, I think it's as I say, it's a courtesy that if people are featured, if the council is going to be discussed on national news and councillors who are at a meeting are featured, I think it's only a matter of courtesy that those councillors are notified if you are notified.
I would agree, and I would actually say that it wasn't just you, because I saw a clip and it was Hazel.
Yeah.
Hazel was, he was born.
Yeah, and others were mentioned as
Yeah.
both of you.
I was mentioned not favourably.
Yeah.
Can I just comment here? Because I think the principle you're trying to establish, I agree with. Not sure this is quite the best way to achieve it. But because I think there should be a rule that says any councillor approached by the media should immediately inform the chairman and executive officer of the council. of the approach and what that councillor, what the subject was about. Now, I can say this because in the group rules that I'm used to, that is one of our rules, that if the media contacts a councillor in our group, then they've signed up, they are required to inform the chairman of the committee it's about, and or the executive officer. That's part of the rules.
That's,
Our-
so,
That's-
yeah,
that's
that's why
within
good
your
for the
group.
councillor being interviewed or requested for the media, but it doesn't affect the include the other people who potentially may be affected, and that's what this amendment is seeking to achieve.
Yeah, but the way I see, I'm just trying to get it tight, to be honest. That because if you just inform everybody that a councillor has been on, etc., then there has to be a process for announcing that. It can't just be because this isn't clear enough for me.
A process that the chairman of the committee was announced, then I see no reason why, if an email is said, "Dear Chair, we've been approached by X media in relation to the discussion last night on flags."
Yeah.
Do you want to? And then you can just put the other councillors who are at the meeting on CC so they're aware. That's all I'm asking, that they're made aware.
Right, Ange.
I would just like to pick up on Dale's point that I think it does work both ways, because we've had looking through the policy, councillors should be letting us know, or the office, when I say us, know
Generally, they don't.
when you're going on the TV, when you're doing press, etc. And we've had numerous situations, and obviously clearly another one last time after the meeting, when we're not notified. So I think it's a courtesy that works both ways. I understand what you're saying, Lee, but I think, if we're amending,
So why
we
we
need
that rule when I was at the borough,
Yeah, I certainly don't object to, if we are approached, for us to, we've always said we'll speak as independent, as Liberal Democrats, we won't speak as representing the council. I'm more than happy to
so that
agree.
we're aware, instead of when I'm eating my tea, up you pop on the telly.
Yeah. Yes. Do you want to put your tea, Ange? I'm absolutely more than happy to agree to that on the basis that it also incorporates our request.
but one of
It has to work.
the reasons why I'm not sure how to tighten this is one of the reasons why when I was on the borough we had that rule was the media used to phone a councillor and say, "What do you think about this? And what's your view?" And the councillor would give their view. They'd phone another councillor and get another view. Then they'd phone the leader, right, and seek to entrap the leader by
We've been told this and this.
we understand dirty. So we put into our rules the fact that as soon as that councillor, it's not you can't speak to the media, it's as soon as you've done it, you must let the leader know, right? So that he's not put out.
That's a group rule.
Yes.
So
We're talking about a council.
Yeah, but
the council.
if we can get that same understanding,
I just said,
I'm
Dale,
happy with that.
said, I'm happy for that to go in on the basis that our request also goes in.
I guess the problem is that if the if the office doesn't become aware of it,
but
Yeah.
that's not
We
what-
don't know, we can't tell you. Yeah,
what she's saying.
things still could happen that none of us
The
are aware.
office is asked.
Yeah.
Very specific.
But it does say if the office is asked. It doesn't say if any member, if any council is approached that they tell
Yeah.
everyone else.
We
It says
won't
if
always
the
know.
office is.
So the motion is now,
But
the
what I
standard
want-
practice is that the office messages Nick or the chair, whoever the chairman of whichever committee it is.
Yeah.
And the request is that
They
every
see-
single councillor is CC'd.
CC'd all those that were at the meeting.
All committee members.
All committee members.
Committee
Or
members.
depending on what it's about, because it might not even be off the back of a meeting, because sometimes it hasn't been. So just depending.
It doesn't.
No, not in there. I'm just saying that
Yeah.
situations can occur
Yeah.
that aren't off the back of a meeting. You know, it's not all
Yes.
the press items that have been
And I
released.
agree with that, but this specifically says that follows a discussion at a prior committee
Mm.
meeting. So this is specific to a
Mm.
committee meeting.
Didn't the when oh, no, it's not talking about a specific incident.
But can we add the fact that councillors,
Make a substantive motion, Dave. It's a nice.
well, that's an amendment to you.
I'm not,
It's an
Yeah.
amendment to you.
Dales, before you do that, you need to check whether what you're about to ask is already in the policy, because the councillors are supposed to inform the office if they're both by the press anyway.
Does it say that in the?
Yes.
It does.
It's already there.
It says this.
But if a
So what-
councillor did not, if a councillor made an approach to the media, or the media approached the council, and the councillor didn't inform the executive officer and or chairman, then they're in breach of the rules.
Correct. But we have no comeback.
There's no consequence.
There's no
anyway.
consequence, unfortunately.
So
Yeah, so I don't need to.
so it's literally just a
So
we'd
the-
like you to, but
Yes.
there's no
The
know.
person
But I
that you-
think this needs tightening up.
Yeah.
If you're going to agree both sides of that argument and formalise it in here, then the wording in the policy needs changing and firming up, I think.
Hmm.
So something along the lines of sort of, because we did have the situation where obviously the Liberal Democrats did say that they weren't going to adhere to the policy and that you were acting as Liberal Democrats, etc.
We would.
So, you know, we're sort of, yeah,
Speak in our own right.
which again contradicts the policy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, got no teeth.
That's only Councillor Edwards does at the moment. You know, he goes.
Oh yeah, he is likewise breaching the policy.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
But if it's,
singling you out, but we have councillors that are breaching it.
surely, if the matter, it going into the public domain is a council matter, then just saying, oh, I'm not talking as a council, doesn't preclude or doesn't remove your responsibility as a council.
No. Because you're still a council, so.
Yeah, Livingston defence does
It's
not
the
apply.
Clapham omnibus
Yeah,
test, isn't it?
that's right.
Yeah, yeah.
The Livingston defence
Right.
does not apply. So do we,
Okay, so what are we doing?
do we need to stress?
So,
We're not,
if we-
we're not
if we
saying,
approve
no, we
this-
don't want this. What we're saying is it needs to be somewhat tighter.
But if the whole policy is tightened, but there are masses of people that aren't adhering to choosing not to adhere to it anyway, what's the point? If people aren't adhering to it.
It clearly does need to be reviewed and tightened.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That's on with that. I think this.
we have no sanction procedure.
Right.
There is no sanction procedure for town council.
But there's, you can review it all you like. There's no sanction. So if people choose to ignore it, they choose to ignore it.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there is no,
So-
we can't suspend you for 6 weeks.
Uh,
There's no policy, that's against the law, because you're elected members. We cannot do that. We have no sanctions.
You just get people complaining to Sanjay.
How do we protect ourselves, which is what.
Yeah, as I said, it's really just freedom of speech, the ability to communicate, you know, is really important. And this is, and I'm not endeavouring to stamp on that in any way, shape, or form. All I'm saying is that if there is an instance where the office is approached for a comment, that I mean, don't even put it then amend the policy. I'm just asking that those who are at the relevant committee meeting or with the associated issue, it's, you know, flower basket or something, just as a matter of courtesy, that the other councillors are
Made aware.
of it.
There's
So
an
don't
issue.
even put it in the policy then. If I could just make that formal request and it's noted and yeah, it will be followed, I'll be happy with it. It's, you know, personally for me, suddenly finding myself on GB News is a career low point.
Mm.
not something that I would ever.
It's something you'd
Where
want
I
to be able
want
to
to appear.
defend, yeah.
I can identify that. I can understand that.
He probably heard us shouting at the telly.
Is there a convenient place to put this on amendment in the media policy? Is it a separate bullet point or is it?
Yeah, it can just be a separate bullet point, yeah.
Well,
It can be tagged on to the,
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to tag it on as an amendment that, you know, should something, you know, where the press are approached after a meeting that, I mean,
All those present are notified.
all those present are notified, yeah.
That's all we want.
Thank you.
You happy to second that?
Yeah, definitely.
All those in favour? It's unanimous.
I mean, I'm
Was it's November, isn't
I
it?
mean, in the office's defence, I'm not sure how early they knew about the GB News thing. To be fair,
after it was public,
I
yeah.
was going to say
Yeah.
it was. It
Yeah,
was
aired and then they.
yeah.
They approached us in the morning, but we didn't know that they were actually doing an
They'd
interviewing councillor and.
The morning after.
They'd been alerted
they were-
the day before.
They work faster than,
Yeah.
than the council can respond.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it wasn't the most fun scene.
And just to go back to your point, you only get reported as a code of conduct issues if it's if you're
Acting as a councillor.
if you're in breach of the code of conduct. Just talking to the press is not a breach of the code of conduct.
Can only, I've learned through going through the complaint process that if you are acting in capacity as a councillor, that's the only time that you can reach them. If I'm out as a member of the public doing something, you can't accuse me of breaking the councillor code because I'm not being a councillor, I'm being a member of the public.
That's right. But again, it's the Livingston defence that comes in there. So
Shall we move to point 15?
Seconded.
I'm there, number 12.
However, 12 now has to move, Nick.
I beg your pardon.
I've seconded moving to 15.
I am going to have to Google the Livingston.
okay, so 12 was moved to the pink anyway. So we'll go on to 13, connecting communities in Berkshire.
Oh, yeah, this is that great one.
Oh, Annex 6, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's great one.
So this was something that was provided to councillor Chris Ives in his networking with the climate change people. It's something that he brought forward. It's a point of interest for us.
Provisions.
We've skipped. Yes, we've put that into the pink.
So there's a reason for it. So
Beg your pardon. Sorry, I've caught up.
Yes, this is the, environmental recycling energy,
I haven't got to the
And next,
I've
scroll, yeah.
got thumb ache.
page 45, if it helps.
Good. Thank you.
You can read mine, it's here.
Personally, I have to say I'm not impressed. I can't see a reason why we would.
Yeah, I was going to say, looking at the benefits, I can't see anything for it.
I have also touched base with a couple of the other parishes and towns to have it, and one thinks she has it but has never used it. So it sort of speaks volumes, really.
Yeah. Well, in that case,
Is this one
What I
that's got
propose.
the other bit attached to it? This I looked at. Hang on.
Actual communities enrolling.
Is this the CC?
This is the one with the very big, celebrating 50 years of community impact and all that sort of stuff.
yeah, but what impact? What have they done?
Yeah, that.
Right.
Well, I won't be supporting.
I propose that we do not take
I'll
up.
second it.
Yes.
I'll second it.
Favour.
Sorry.
Not wasting time on it.
Okay.
Spend them on all toilets.
Public participation in council committee meetings.
Perhaps they could provide a grant to the space centre.
It's too much for councillor Birch.
Oh, it's off.
He's at it.
So,
We wait for him to return.
yes, because technically he can't participate in the vote if he ain't here for the motion. So
Yeah.
we shall just,
Can I just go out in the,
Yeah.
listen to this phone call?
you can be quick.
Yeah.
Right.
Bring it all back in live.
Agreed to stand.
While everyone's doing that, I'm going to do.
Do we want to suspend standing orders for a second?
Second.
Can't leave us about standing orders,
Everyone's running.
Well, everyone's disappearing and
but nobody else is speaking.
Is there something I said?
Could mute us for a second.
Load of money.
Oh, God.
Right. Lee, if you want to introduce your item.
Yes, so this came about actually as a result of the last council meeting. And an item came up on the agenda that Graham then said, oh, we'll be talking about this at leisure. So the residents then came to the leisure meeting. And it was before that, I then said to Andrew, so can residents talk at committee meetings? And that was when it became apparent actually that no, residents can have the 15 minutes at the beginning of a full council meeting, but residents don't have, in our current standing orders, the ability to participate in a committee meeting.
Planning does.
With the exception of planning, thank you, Dave. So with that in mind, I thought, and this isn't going to be a common occurrence, I'm sure, but then having looked into it as to how this could be facilitated, given the move for open democracy and encouraging residents to engage with democracy and what we do, is to enable, if a resident wanted to participate in a committee meeting and pose a question on a particular item, on one of the agenda items, that they are able to do so, and that they're able to do so by formally communicating with the EO prior, because obviously they won't know what's on the agenda. So once they've seen the agenda, they might go, oh yes, I might like to ask a question about that. And so they can only speak at a committee meeting if they have forewarned the EO prior that I'd like to ask a question under number 7, number 8.
What's the difference of them doing that at the beginning of the first 15 minutes of the meeting anyway?
The town.
No, but
Because
that's
that's
just
only
a
a
full
town.
town.
That's only a full
only a-
town. It's not in committee. So if we were
And actually, it isn't even shown on planning.
So at the moment, there's
So-
no formal way for
Yes.
residents to participate in a committee meeting.
There is a formal way for people to commit to participate, but you do have to suspend standing orders, and you would have to do that. That's what you have to do in planning. You still have to
Which
suspend
is what I
standing
do.
orders.
Yeah.
Members of the public to speak.
And there
My,
are,
my understanding is that if it is then written into, this is why I'm proposing standing
But-
orders are amended.
My challenge is that I think this is open to abuse. I mean, you could get people querying every agenda item on the asking questions all the time. If like I don't know how many people we had at leisure, but if they were asking about every agenda item, then we'd be going on till midnight.
I don't think about every agenda
But
item. I think it's just.
Even the borough do it for particular meetings, and public participation, for example, at the borough is a particular period at the beginning of the meeting.
Mm.
It's one item at the beginning of the meeting. On full council, planning is different. Planning does do it because you can only speak on the items to which and there's
and you get
strict
3
rules.
minutes only
rules back.
against.
when you're doing it.
Prior to
Who
the
can
planning
speak?
application.
Like, if 15 people want to speak, only one can. They have to form a group and one person speaks on their behalf. But in fact, they were changing the rules of borough last week. And it went through governance and audit. And I picked up on the fact that they hadn't actually said, no, this doesn't apply to governance and audit. It doesn't apply to, other committees. So, the employment committee, we can't have members of the public turning up to the employment committee, but they hadn't excluded those committees. But at the town council level, I'm really much against members of the public being able to ask questions on an individual agenda item. So it would just be off the wall.
No, I disagree. I don't think it's off the wall. I think it's involving our residents in the democracy of their local town. So if you would be against them being limited to ask a question, no more than 3 minutes, given we have that governance anyway, would you be open to then having a set time at the beginning of each committee meeting so that residents can say, well, I can see you're going to discuss whatever. I'd just like to make a comment, or I would like to say, and that at the beginning is then has a time limit, which we do at town council, which most of the time isn't used. So as I say, I'm not anticipating that this is something that's going to be used for every single committee meeting. My concern is at the moment, we don't offer many avenues for our residents to engage with us. And how many times do we sit at committee meetings or council meetings and say, well, what do residents think? Well, what feedback? And more often than not, we go on, well, this has been on We Love Sandhurst, or, whatever the Sandhurst community and Sandhurst Residents Association pages. Because at the moment, really, that's the only way for some instant feedback. So this is trying to make it easier for our residents to engage with what we're doing and making decisions that ultimately do affect them. And at the moment, they only get to do that on a general meeting rather than on potentially a very specific committee meeting.
I think you could probably then just have it and just take out about any of the agenda points. Because then it's just somebody's just asking a question or giving an opinion. Could you look at providing different play equipment in wherever, or the bins or whatever?
Okay, down.
Yeah. I'm again not supportive of the wording. The first question I would say is, how many questions are people limited? Because the way that's worded, they can ask a question on every item on the agenda.
Yeah, that's why I just said to take out the agenda items.
So we need to be a little bit more detailed in what and also how would one deal with supplementary questions that they may have. The other element is, what form of response would be acceptable? Because you go to the borough and you ask a question before the council meeting, and the person to whom it's addressed, the executive member to whom it's addressed, can either answer it there at that time or can agree to send them a note to write to them with a response to their question. So
That's what happens on the full town council.
that's what I'm talking about. But I'm troubled, as indeed the chairman has remarked, about if the item on the agenda is quite an emotive item within the town, just how many people would be allowed to ask questions at that, and that would worry me, because if 10 or 12 or whatever had arrived, because I remember at the borough when a planning meeting came, and all these the applicant had brought all these young children in as part of the pressure to lead a debate. So
I'm sorry, I was
Sorry,
Graham's next.
Graham.
Sorry, I did put my hand up. Sorry. So yeah, no, I do want to come back to this, and I think because obviously I chaired, and I think this has come about partly because of the meeting that I chaired. So
It was spurred on by that.
And yeah, it was a very emotive thing, and I thought that I was fair and that I did stop and I did let the chap speak, because, and the reason why I did was because at town, when he'd raised the question, I'd said that we're having a meeting and I'm going to talk, and I thought it was only fair that I gave him the chance to say kind of
Absolutely.
and his feedback. So my viewpoint on this is I really love giving our residents the opportunity at the start of full town, when all the councillors are there, all the members, everyone, to talk about it. And I love that idea. In terms of, I also believe that members of the public can email the council at any point with questions or concerns or anything as well. So I think there's a good thing there. I did just want to pick up, because obviously you said, oh, it's great to have people immediately, how many times do we say, we don't know what the public are thinking? Well, again, it's still quite a small size. I personally, my view is that I like the town council. I like the ability that they're able to interact, and I do think that a reasonable and decent chair would, on an emotive subject, if there was someone that particularly wanted to speak, I would hope that they would give them that opportunity.
And we have done that in the past, where we've had a large number of members of the public turn up to to a committee meeting rather than a council meeting. There have been occasions where we know they're all turning up for a particular agenda item, and we will suspend standing orders to let them speak.
Yeah.
And the reason we suspend standing orders is because I don't think we should be changing standing orders personally to allow them just to all of a sudden. They're all speaking on this agenda.
The problem is, if you give them a chance, if you give them a chance, if you give one person a chance to ask questions, technically you should give every other person the chance. The reason why I did in that specific one was because I'd answered his question before and I thought it was fair.
So I think literally just by taking out the phrase, about any of the agenda items, we're doing nothing any different from the full town council by saying that there's, a period of time at the start of the meeting that people can stand and raise a point, whatever, it could be about anything. And that can be limited, and that can still be limited to the 3 minutes. I don't think that
So just replicate our full town.
the full town council, what
At each
happens at full
committee.
town council at each committee meeting? Because I've certainly been at committee meetings where the chair hasn't been prepared to let the members of public speak. So I think for
And there might be valid reasons for doing that, I have to say, but
I think it goes.
how many people are going to be, sorry, Lee, how many people are going to be at environment that are going to do that? How many people are going to come to
I've never seen
S&P or
anyone.
whatever? There's not going to be that many. So I don't see that it's going to be a huge issue. And look at how many people go along to the council meetings anyway. It's just giving residents the opportunity to.
okay,
Could I, if we're going to do this, and
I don't want to do it.
Sorry? Well-
I want to do it.
yeah, well, I want, I'm not convinced at the moment, but if we are, because of all the possible reasons why not, if we say that, and we would need to be specific that full council has this facility, leisure, environment and Stratton, because it planning has that already. But those are specific. And the reason why I would want that level of specification is because the term a committee meeting, etc. I wouldn't want some of the other meetings that we have, personnel working.
There's
Committee anyway, that's, yeah.
subcommittees or anything like that.
In the pink anyway.
Yeah, but I don't want any mission creep. Let me put it.
So what would be
One
acceptable
more
to you?
question, sorry, just
Well, I can't see that it's going to damage democracy if we have a period at the start of each meeting where members of the public can ask a question. I do believe, and I don't think, whilst it would be nice if they notified the council, because we don't ask them to do that at full
We're
council.
going to change it to that, then yeah, you don't need to.
That they can. But we will need to be specific in as much as if they are, it must be about an item on that is named on that committee.
On the agenda.
Must be
On the
relevant.
agenda.
Must be
Because-
relevant to the
because
agenda.
At full council, you can stand there and shout about whatever you like,
Hmm.
right? But
But at the committee
But
meetings,
if
it's
you're
got to
going
be
to-
relevant to the
if you're
agenda.
going to have 10 minutes, and I don't think we should have 15, 20 great long periods, but if you have 10 minutes at the
3 minutes.
start, where we invite people to ask a question, but we inform them that the chairman will limit the time they have to ask their question.
So they'll get their 3 minutes and there'll be a little.
And then that'll be, 3 minutes.
That's why it needs to be 15 minutes because it's divisible by 5. If it was 10 minutes, you can only have 3 people.
Whatever. Yeah, but
But that's true.
well, we could even just say 2 minutes each.
I was just gonna
because
say,
of
just-
agenda items.
have we had actual requests from members of the
Never.
public
No.
that
No.
they, because I just personally, I just think full town with the ability to email in at any point about it, I just feel like that's a good enough and gives them the opportunity to voice their concerns. I just, personally, that's my stand.
My worry is that instead of actually asking questions on the agenda item, we're going to get the benefit of their advice for 3 minutes before we start.
Ange.
I just
Ange.
wanted to say, if this was to go ahead, we need to be, and even well, if it doesn't, and where we are in full town, we need to start actually following the standing orders, because even the last town, we had a resident speak, and then 3 separate councillors answered the question, and it went on far too long, way out of the timescale. So, and then we're in danger of getting into debate, which is
Yeah.
absolutely not the right thing. A question should be asked, it should either be answered, or if we don't know the answer, then we go away and come back, which we've done often. I'll take the details and get back to them. But I think we need to put in that one councillor will answer that question, because there's 24 sitting around the table. We can be there all night at full council, and the same danger could happen at a committee meeting. So I would just ask if we need to, the chairs need to tighten up on the control of this.
Yes.
But it's also the councillors, because they're all jumping in. Everyone wants to answer the resident.
Good opportunity to bring everyone up to speed then, isn't it? If we're going to put a new amendment into the standing order.
But either way,
The only
you
thing
can.
on that was the one slight difference was that Mike was able to answer a specific point based on highways or something from that Graham wouldn't have been able to.
Can I
No,
make
that's-
make a
that's-
suggestion then that we change it to that at the beginning of each committee meeting, there is a maximum of 15 minutes, take into consideration 15 is divisible by 3, like a town council, for a resident to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes.
on something relevant to the
As long as it is
relevant to the agenda.
As long as it is relevant to an item on the agenda. That's my
But
proposal.
can
The
I
only
also-
other point I would make is it doesn't need to be divisible by 3
No.
because
They
they're
won't speak.
speaking
Yeah.
for 3 minutes,
No.
and then you've got all of the questions.
Yeah, that 15 minutes is that whole piece.
Yeah.
It's for the question and the answer.
Yes.
So
the
it's
answer
not
might take
just
10 minutes.
divisible by whatever is irrelevant.
At the end of 15 minutes, it's finished.
Then you talk,
Yeah.
that's Kate.
Otherwise, the meeting will never.
Can I just throw something out there as well? We've got half an hour until the gate locks, and we've got a lot to get through on this agenda still.
Let's
You don't work anymore.
come on then. Let's make the proposal.
So the proposal is at the beginning of the strategy and policy, leisure and environment committee meetings, that a 15-minute policy is adopted where members of the public can pose a question that is relevant to the agenda for that evening, speaking for a maximum of 3 minutes.
Second.
So which committee did you use to say?
I think there's
Strategy and
No,
policy,
three,
environment
because it's
and leisure.
already on.
Leisure.
Dale's concerns.
SMP.
You're saying at the beginning of each meeting.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So it's
It's exactly the same as the town.
replicating the town council model, basically.
So
Who's seconding it? All those in favour? Against? Carried. Right, okay. Use of the community room, including the lease held by Sandhurst Football Club.
Yeah, so you'll recall in the last meeting, we spoke about the lease and a possible addendum to the lease. So we have been informed, and I'm going to inform you now of some dates and things that are pre-booked, and from our motion and our resolution last time, it was agreed that anything that is going on in the committee room that is not being used by the leaseholder and is going out to third parties must come through this committee for agreement. So at the moment, we have a children's Christmas party booked. These are all these bookings that I mentioned. So it's a sports club have booked a Christmas party in there. They have booked a New Year's Eve party in there. And there are 3 other occasions where the sports club have hired it out to a member for a private party. Their constitution says that any member can go to those parties, but they are a third fourth party sublet. So because,
Football club rented to the sports and social club.
well, what's been happening is the sports club have just been renting it out, but it's not theirs to rent out, which is why we drove it last time and did the addendum. So they need permission because at the moment we're obviously sports club lease it off us. No, football club lease it off us. The sports club are leasing it off them, and someone else is leasing it off them. So you've got 4 parties involved in that hire, which is what we've said cannot happen, which is why we're amending it. However, these are pre-booked. So basically, this committee needs to decide whether they can go ahead or not.
So I need to declare an interest though, because
Right.
Nikki and I,
No, because you're representing the council,
okay.
So this,
unless it's your party.
so it's a children's party.
It's definitely not my party.
Children's party on behalf of the sports club, New Year's Eve party on behalf of the sports club. So they're hired, in effect, they're subletting from the football club.
Yeah.
The other 3 are members of the sports club subletting from
I propose
all
that,
of us.
I propose that we allow these to go ahead as they're pre-booked.
Second.
All those in favour? It's unanimous. Right, press and publicity.
Oh, gosh.
We have a press release telling them we changed our media policy.
Yeah. I don't think.
Date of next meeting is 28th of November, and exclusion of public and press.
No,
I don't think
Stop. That was a mistake.
I was just reading off the
29th of January.
Right.
Yeah,
I will not be
tomorrow.
popular, I can tell you.
Yeah,
Well, that was tomorrow.
yeah, I was going to. Didn't get
That
the
was just
agenda.
a the exclusion, then I can turn this on.
Okay, in that case, I will pass a resolution in accordance with the Public Bodies Act to exclude the public and press for the discussion of confidential business.
Seconded.
All those in favour? Unanimous. Right.